The pirates. Comms on Sir Doorway is being attacked routinely by the slave adepts, but Franklin's having a very easy time of it. Victor says as a communications test shortly after the door closes behind Miles and his team. Confirmed. Maintain communication silence except in emergencies. Yes, sir, Victor answers. That done, all 5 of them start padding down. First door is on the left and is opened quickly. They enter guns first and scan the room. Jean-Luc rushes up to the nearby computer terminal and quickly taps out a few commands. Got a recording here. Idiot didn't log off. Jean-Luc remarks and he taps a few commands. Here we go. The screen lights up to show one of the dead women that was on the bridge sigh into the camera. A cloaken one of the shape-shifting types rather than the always invisible ones. Captain's being a bitch again. She's always been impatient but smart. This time, though, there's something wrong, but she's not listening. I can feel my feathers itch. The raid should be easy, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being an idiot worrier. We just came off a stupidly successful raid of that Arumenta colony. By the time the girls knew what we were after, we already had more than half of them fighting for us, which is probably why I feel so freaked out. We're going in with untested, unblooded war slaves, Axiom war slaves no less. We need to properly break and blood them first. Sure, some are broken, but most are just barely cracked. I'm recording this so it's on record. I think this raid is a bad idea. It's too soon, and I know you're watching this, boss. You need to listen to your commanders to avoid this shit. That explains why Franklin's been making sport of these girls. Miles remarks as his stomach twists in disgust at the very concept of a war slave. This log is 4 hours old. Want another? Jean-Luc asks, and Miles shakes his head. No, we're sussing out where the captain slept. See if there's any more information for us. Once we confirm a few things and have this ship safely under our complete control, then we can go through things with a fine-toothed comb. Miles answers and there's nods. They clear out of the room and quickly check the next. Guns first, scan, and then approach the computer terminal when presented with an empty room. Jean-Luc once again starts tapping at things, then growls in frustration when there's a password protection on it. Perhaps not a drooling idiot, but an idiot nonetheless. Or at least someone who doesn't believe in proper password security, he remarks with a chuckle. So we were being listened to when I prayed for my enemies to be ridiculous. Beck remarks, then chuckles himself. Good to know. Latest entry is Jean-Luc begins activating the screen. This time it's one of the Tret women that were on the bridge. We've still failed to achieve what the Dark Cabal has accomplished. Certainly the Kutha piercings work and assure that defiance is literally unthinkable for our slaves. But it's frustrating to know that there's a better way that's simply beyond me. These girls should have no hope of escape so long as we keep the numbers down and keep ourselves vigilant. The weakness of the Dark Cabal was that it grew too large, too quickly. We're smarter than that. We've tempered our growth to not expand beyond our means of control, but we still don't understand the elegant methods they used. Perhaps our next major batch of acquisitions will bring me inspiration. After all, there's always a chance to find someone's escaped slave. Perhaps the leftovers from the Dark Cabal. But if wishes came true, I'd be a queen. Please tell me that this one's dead, Miles says. Neck snapped like a twig. Beck answers. I recognized her face from the bridge. If she's not, then she's a quadriplegic, likely suffocating as we speak with inactive lungs. Either way, good, Miles answers. Move on. Next room is also clear and Jean-Luc activates the computer terminal. Already logged in. Jackpot, Miles says as the face of the now thoroughly splattered Nagasha appears on the screen. Blanche is being an idiot. In other news, it's hard to breathe in space. She's a good pilot and she's on board with the operation, but there are days I just want to ram a spike through her face in order to shut the fuck up about her itching feathers and do her job. That way she'll have something to really worry about. The Nagasha huffs before grinning. Either way, We're coming up on Vutsa 5. Not only can we make a killing with sails, but we can raid the planet first and then, a week later, offload the Aramenta merchandise. It's a perfect setup. We take gang members and send the planet into infighting and get them good and desperate for some killing power, and then we show up, make a sale, and then blast off laughing with both full treasure holds and slave pens. The perfect scam. I love worlds like this, picking so easy they do most of the work for you. Well, this is certainly the place. Jean-Luc, scan through and check if she left anything juicy in there. Miles orders and the man nods as he starts checking everything. If there's a system to this sorting, then it's something she kept in her otherwise empty. Jean-Luc begins before his instincts scream at him and he dives right the hell away from the computer. The wall implodes as if hit by an invisible wrecking ball. Negative on visual! Beck barks out. Even Miles's eyes narrow and he takes a shot with his pistol. The shot shatters the veil of invisibility, and the young, deep-crag Nagasha slams into the wall with a groan of agony. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! She moans as Jean-Luc forces her to look up at them with a nudge of his foot. How? Miles asks as he looks the formerly cybernetic Nagasha moaning in front of him. Fuck you, she hisses. Wrong answer, Miles says, shooting her in the rattle, and she screams in agony. Last chance. I will break you. She hisses at him and he shoots her in the left eye. There is no resisting this bullet and she dies. She's cheated death once. We can assume that she's going to do so again, Miles says as he glares around the room. Franklin, we've encountered the Nagasha again. She has some method of self-resurrection. I need to know you're at least going to try to understand things, Ryu says into his communicator. Victor, bring me the head of the Nagasha that attacked us. Hopefully it's still intact enough for me to figure it out somewhat, Franklin says. Stand by for anything I might be able to tell you, although examining the head of the one you just dealt with might be useful. It's been shot through the eye. It's badly damaged. Just tell me if there's a strange tattoo or kutha somehow integrated into her skin or skull, perhaps an odd burn scar. Franklin answers and Beck shoves his way in to examine the body. Here, it's hidden in her hair, a sort of circle with an X-like shape inside it, but all of the X is in 4 broken little bars that don't touch each other. That may be it, Franklin says. Thank you, Victor. Yes, here it is. This tiny mark is imbuing itself with axiom by itself. It's linked, or it was linked. I think she's got some way to upload her consciousness. The null must have interrupted it. I think she's likely got more clones ready to wake up. Be on your guard. This girl likes self-augmentation. She may set things up so her next body is an even worse battle monster than the first one. We'll keep ourselves on the lookout. She blew the information we were here for, though. We're heading back to the bridge, Miles says, and everyone starts moving out. A self-resurrecting snake witch slaver. This got interesting. Beck notes with a chuckle. Oh, so now it's interesting? Huh, Lou says as they move back down the hallway in a defensive formation. They slip in and are faced with numerous guns pointed their way before being lowered. Good. You're all on guard, Miles says. Franklin's been very open about what's going on, Cy remarks. Did you get any good information? We've confirmed that these girls are inspired by, but never were members of the Dark Cabal. We further confirmed that the facial piercings are their main method of control. Likely, there are those that are blackmailed or bribed into serving. More traditional slavery may still be on the field. So far, there's only been the pierce, though, Franklin says through the still open portal. The number of teleporters has petered off, though. We've had an unusually long gap, and Franklin then snaps out his hand and grabs the face of a forming Aramenta. I stand corrected. What is going on? Who are you? I'm Baron Franklin Smith, a skilled Axiom adept, and I just freed you. Are there other types of slaves? Or is everyone loaded up with piercings? I don't know. I only ever saw those with piercings. The ice, Araminta says, and Franklin nods before nodding to the side. Head that way. The other girls I've freed got a bad spook and went over there. I'm sure you'll feel safer with them than me, he tells her, and she nods before wandering off. The dropped piercings float into Franklin's hand and reshapes itself into a long needle. Hopefully we won't have to encounter that hag again. However, I'm already getting ready for round 2. Or would it be 3? 2 for you, 3 for me, Miles remarks as he moves up to look over Sai's shoulder at the basic overlook of the ship that the man is using to steer. We should be in a stable orbit in about a half hour at this rate. I won't be messing too much with the thrust of this ship. Sai explains, flicking his hand in disgust at the blood still on him. Hey, I've been fiddling with the controls over here. It seems to be the weapons, and I powered down both the shields and the weapon systems. This thing is just a flying bus now, Jake says from his position nearby. Good. Has anyone spotted a communication terminal? We think it's the shattered one there, so no, we're down to our basic communicators, Marcus replies. A lot of the still active terminals are effectively numerous more advanced sensors of all types, but it seems communications and general control is from the central part of the bridge. Over there and there are numerous different bits that use Axiom to scan for minerals or heat, or give a readout of the ship in detail. Opposite is a general map, a constant scan for signals, and a dedicated readout of the engines. Do you have plans? We switch out the weapons on this, maybe keep one of these bombardment lasers and fill the rest with anti-ship weaponry, and we have a pretty nasty monster we can use to defend Vuxa. Point defense satellites, strike fighters, and artillery are good, but having a defensive fleet as well is useful. Good thinking. Although this place is going to be a bitch and a half to clean, Miles remarks, and Marcus chuckles. Yay, it! Incoming! Franklin shouts, and everyone brings up their guns even as a massive figure emerges from thin air. Bullets bounce off to no effect before she gives off a scream and twitching even as she emerges and is suddenly cut in half and falls to the ground. She begins to scream before a shotgun blast from Sai detonates her head. All right, what the hell did you do? Miles asks, even as the body slumps to the floor. Franklin steps through and rips out a long Kutha needle. New invention, disruption needle. She wanted to pose half in, half out of a portal. Well, good luck keeping it open when your Axiom is scrambled hard. Nowhere near as badly as Null can, but badly enough to screw up any effects if you're not ready for it. Right, well, keep them ready for her next attack, Miles says. Holy hell, look at this, Beck says, looking over the augmentic Nagasha's body. And it is her body, her latest one at any rate. This thing would have been a war machine if she hadn't been taken out like a punk. If she shows up with worse, I'm breaking out the Null. Consequences be damned, I'm not letting her play with all her toys, Franklin says, looking over the massively armored frame with blades and spikes protruding from it. If nothing else, the sheer amount of Kutha shall pay for much of what we desire, Victor notes calmly.